The BBC have finally made comment on the future of Doctor Who, the future of the Whoniverse, and whether or not we're going to get more episodes, more seasons, a movie, spin-offs, how this Whoniverse plan is going to continue. There's many pathways and many directions that Doctor Who could take in the future, and this video is going to break down everything that we know and break down the comments officially made by the BBC about the future of everybody's favourite science fiction show. I mean, at least it looks like we're not in the Wilderness Years era 2. There's gonna be a break, I imagine, but I think it's relatively safe to say after these comments, Doctor Who is coming back. Before we do jump into exactly what the BBC have said, let's take a look at some of this week's Doctor Who headlines. First up, just a really quick one here, kinda hilarious and bonkers, but Doctor Who earns its first ever, literally ever in the history of the show, first ever Emmy nomination in 62 years in the category for Outstanding Choreography. This is, of course, for There's Always a Twist at the End, the episode The Devil's Chord. If you had to tell me that any scene in Doctor Who history would be being nominated for an Emmy, I really would not have guessed There's Always a Twist. But, to be fair, it's for choreography. So, on the choreography side of things, you know what? Yeah, I'd say it deserves it. It might not win, but it's pretty impressive nonetheless that they've been put up for this Emmy. I think it's the same guy who did the Bridgerton choreography, and he's also up for Bridgerton. So I guess it's a good year to be that choreographer. It is nice to see, though, that Doctor Who is still sort of... because people often compare the state of the show to the 80s and when it went into the original Wilderness Years, when it was off air for like 16 years. But I do think Doctor Who holds a very different place in the TV industry and within the minds of the British public. Sure, maybe a lot of the British public are like done with it, they've turned off, they want new things, but it is still regarded as a very sort of like high-level, high-end, high-concept show for people. Anyway, the other big news we have is about our spin-off that is set to air later this year now. It's basically official because TV Zone over here have the inside scoop that the BBC autumn scripted lineup has finally been revealed. Amongst it are The Guest, Riot Women, Waterloo Road, The Night Manager, and, I mean, it didn't make it onto the front page, but if you dig a bit deeper into this article, The War Between the Land and the Sea will be coming this autumn. So that's confirmed now. It's definitely going to be 2025 this year that we're going to get this. Now, I will read a little synopsis here, but it is worth noting that I think this is the very latest we'll find out what on earth Doctor Who's future entails. Like, yeah, the end of this year, I think we will 100% know exactly, official confirmation, press releases, etc., what the future of the show is, who Billie Piper is, or how Billie Piper is continuing in this role. If the Disney deal has come to its natural conclusion, after The War Between the Land and the Sea, they'll launch their new Doctor Who in whatever form that may be. The War Between the Land and the Sea is a new series, when a fearsome and ancient species emerges from the ocean, dramatically revealing themselves to humanity. An international crisis is triggered. With the entire population at risk, units step into action as the land and the sea wage war. Now, what's really exciting about this to me, I don't think it's going to be a 15 or high rated, but it's definitely going to be more serious and a departure from the sort of tone of the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. Things are definitely going to get more bleak and depressing, and that's kind of exciting because we've had so much sort of happy clappy Doctor Who for quite a while. It would be nice to have some more serious, more drama-based stuff, and if we look at other Whoniverse spin-offs like Torchwood Children of Earth, that's genuinely one of the best things that the Whoniverse has ever produced. Like, those 5 days of television were literally peak. I say were, I was probably like 4 when it came out, but I've watched it since, and it's great. Our final headline of today before the big news is that Ncuti Gatwa says at Glastonbury Festival he bumped into former fellow Doctor Who star Matt Smith in a club, which is just quite funny. According to Ncuti, they had a great deep chat about the job and about how there'll never be anything like it in our lifetimes again, we'll never work that hard again, and never be as stimulated and as stretched. Which, yeah, all of these, I really want to know. I know I made a video on it the other day, but why did Ncuti Gatwa leave Doctor Who? Like, what's the actual full-on reason? Is it just tiredness from the mental strain? And I expect he does keep saying the physical strain of it, but like, he's 32 and he's complaining about his knees while doing a ballet. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird one, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. But it's quite nice that there was a mini multi-Doctor team up. Technically, I would love to see Matt Smith back at some point in the show. That would be so cool, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Unless they're really struggling for views, then they could just brought Tennant back, bring Smith back. But I don't think that's going to happen. It'd be cool though. It'd be fun, but also it wouldn't be great for the long-term longevity of the show. Let's stop living in Fantasyland and actually talk about this article. From TV Zone once again. New BBC Studios CEO has said the company is really committed to Doctor Who, as they continue to look at ways in which we can bring the show to fans. So that quote there, it's kind of the thing that can relax everybody. Like, calm down. The BBC have officially said they are really committed to Doctor Who as a brand. Now, a lot of us have always assumed this to be the case because the BBC, with the current government, I say current government, any government in the United Kingdom, as the years have gone on, not allowing the TV licence fee to keep up with inflation and chopping budgets. Basically, since the 2008 financial crisis, the BBC has been in jeopardy, and Doctor Who, by far, I mean, just look at this room alone, look at this pot full of stuff, look at that cabinet behind me. Doctor Who produces an insane amount of merchandise which fans will buy. So it's really not as simple as, oh, well, Doctor Who doesn't pull in 10 million viewers overnight anymore, so they're going to cancel the show. The BBC kind of need Doctor Who. It's one of their big main players, but I think they are going to very much have to rethink, regroup, and re-strategise on how to keep this show going forward, because the current 2 seasons, while I didn't hate season 2 at all, they just aren't capturing the public in the way the BBC need. I think things like the CBeebies spin-off for kids, like they're basically making Bluey, but Doctor Who-y for kids. Like, that is such a clever way to go about it because it expands the Whoniverse and there is so much money in there. It's also securing young viewers so that they can grow up and watch the more adult Doctor Who stuff as they get older, creating lifelong fans from an early age. Anyway, let's read this article and read more quotes from the BBC CEO. Doctor Who, BBC committed to sci-fi series and uncertainty about the show's future. Tom Husel, CEO of BBC Studios, the commercial production arm of the BBC. So yeah, BBC, we've talked about it in prior videos, but BBC and BBC Studios are 2 separate things. Studios deal with drama. They did all of the Chibnall era, like they're 2 little companies. It's, yeah, funding, you can check out another video to hear more backstory on that. But he has spoken about the future of Doctor Who following the release of the BBC's annual report. Fusel said that BBC Studios are really committed to Doctor Who and are continuing to look at ways in which he can bring the show to fans. He added that fans love the Doctor Who brand. It's been that way since before I was in short trousers. I think, as I say, that this is the key thing. There is such a dedicated fan base of Doctor Who people that the show, taking it completely off air, would be silly. I do think they're kind of in like a grey space void at the moment. Nothing is being done. There's obviously very like higher up in the company talks, as Fusel talks about here, about mergers with Disney, the BBC, etc. and funding. But in terms of Russell and the creative team, I think they're all just on pause. Like, we know Russell's working on another show entirely at the moment, which I think it's called Tiptoe, and I'm pretty excited to hear what that's all going to be about. But as for the show itself, I think creatively it's on hiatus. It is just currently on pause, but behind the scenes they are committed to keeping Doctor Who alive. And a lot of people have suggested that the best way to keep Doctor Who alive is to let it have a nap. It needs a little bit of a break to keep itself functioning, to keep itself going. How many times can you do a big relaunch with a new Doctor, with a new series, with a new style, before the public go, we've been there, we've done that? Does Doctor Who need a bit of downtime, a bit of rest? I mean, they had downtime in the classic era. Well, no, in the wilderness years. That's a reference that only a couple of people will get. But does Doctor Who need a little bit of time away to come back fully appreciated by the public? In the olden days of TV, 100% yes. But nowadays, I don't quite know, because everything's so much more niche. No TV show gets watched by a ridiculous amount of people anymore, and if they do, it's kind of just a fad. But then in saying that, you've got things like Stranger Things, which... I don't know, it's been years since the last season of that came out, but then it's the final season coming soon. I don't know, Doctor Who's in a weird place. The TV landscape is so ever-changing and difficult to navigate. Knowing its exact future, I can see why there's a lot of trepidation behind the scenes. Commenting on the continuing uncertainty around the Disney Plus partnership, Fusel praised the streamer as a crucial partner to BBC Studios as a whole, adding, "We share a lot of the same values, so I'm really proud of the way that relationship has worked." Now, this is a very interesting point. They say BBC Studios as a whole. If you've been looking at the news recently, you will see that ITV have struck up a deal with Disney for distribution rights and the ownership of certain programmes and formats. Is Doctor Who on hiatus while an even bigger deal happens behind the scenes? Are Disney looking at funding BBC, like the whole of the BBC studios, the fiction filmmaking part of BBC? Are they looking at funding more of that? Could we be seeing something even bigger than just Disney Plus buying certain rights and certain ownerships to Doctor Who? Especially now that the back catalogue of Doctor Who stuff those rights have expired with HBO Max. Doctor Who is officially leaving HBO Max, thus we'll be shopping around to put the back catalogue of episodes from 2005 to 2022 on another streamer. Now, it would make so much sense if they put this whole backlog on Disney Plus. Disney Plus are far more likely to commission if they've got that entire history of modern Doctor Who on their platform. It makes the Tennant and Tate specials make so much more sense to new viewers if they can actually go back and watch the original Tennant and Tate episodes. Meanwhile, the BBC is set to expand the Whoniverse as it launches plans for a brand new preschool animation series which will see the Doctor's adventures come to CBeebies for the first time ever. So despite all of the doom and gloom, I think it seems abundantly apparent things are happening behind the scenes. Maybe slowly, maybe not as simply or as easy as we'd like, and maybe it's not going to happen directly anytime soon, but Doctor Who will... the reality war, we can sit safe in the knowledge, right? The reality war was not the final ever episode of Doctor Who. I guarantee you. There is more on the way. What form that will take, when that will be, we don't know. If I were to make an educated guess, I would guess next Christmas. Which is annoying because that's so far away. Like, we're not even at Christmas 2025, but I reckon Christmas 2026, they might do a big, bombastic, nostalgia-driven special. I mean, we were discussing Matt Smith coming back earlier. You've got Billy Piper back, so it's going to be a nostalgia fest anyway, right? And if you're doing a nostalgia fest, Tennant will come back, Smith will come back. I don't know if it's a good idea. I think, in fact, it might not be a good idea, but I could see if they're picking up from the Piper plotline, I could see that happening big special in 2026, Christmas Day. They're going to hit where they can get the most views, try and make an impact, and Doctor Who will have had a little break, almost like a 2-year-ish break over that period. And then, yeah, it comes back with a bang, big nostalgia-driven special, making way for a new era with a new production team. I could see Russell sort of signing off with Piper, Tennant, Smith, whoever coming back for this big special. Piper, all that, sign off with Russell, and then they make space for a completely new creative direction, creative team for the show, although I reckon Russell will stick around as a Kevin Feige type overseer of the Doctor Who brand, the Whoniverse, if you will, but that's just an educated guess. We'll have to wait and see. Things are happening behind the scenes. It's not all doom and gloom. No need to comment #RIP Doctor Who. Doctor Who lives another day. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy. As ever, if you did, please feel free to go over to the Patreon. Check that out. Like, comment, subscribe. You can become a channel member. Any of this stuff, it's all up to you. Appreciate any support. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you! She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.